Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by Matt Gould, of course, who drives for Nice Motorsports and drove for them in the ARCA Menard Series the past few weeks at Milwaukee earlier this year, and then, of course, last weekend at Toledo. How's it going, Matthew?
It's going good. How are you?
Doing well, man. So first off, before we kind of you haven't really kind of done this much, so kind of just introduce yourself a little bit.
So well, of course, I'm the son of Phil Gould, so that's one cue about me.
Okay, well, I'll stop you right there. Of course, for people that do not know, Phil Gould is, of course, the crew chief for Carson Hocevar in the Truck Series. Besides that, how did you get into racing? Just from watching your dad and stuff.
Yeah, so it's actually a funny story how I got into racing. It started in Clint Boyer's backyard. I had a go-kart, and he had a track out in his backyard, and I'd got there when I was 4 years old, and I'd make laps. And I finally got old enough to where I was able to move up into the box stock division at Millbridge Speedway, and I started that when I was 6. And then I kept moving up the ranks. I went from the beginner box stocks all the way up into the intermediate class. So I was 6 to 14 is when I raced at Millbridge. I won over 30 races. And then when I was 14, my dad and I got a late model, and we bought it off of Garrett Jones from Circle Track Warehouse. And we put it together with Nice funding us, and I ran the limited class at Caraway or late 2020, and had a couple good finishes and ran really well. In 2021, when I was 15, we decided that we wanted to break out more into the NASCAR rankings aside from the limited late model, and I ran at Orange County Speedway, Hickory Motor Speedway, Florence Motor Speedway, just kind of all over the Carolinas, and I ended up getting 3 wins and 2 poles and a handful of top 5s. And then this year, we wanted to stick solely to Hickory Motor Speedway just to try to run for the championship, because they had a new championship format that would really fit us since we could not make all the races. And we ended up getting 1 win, and we branched out to Tri-County twice and set a new track record by 3/10, took it from Josh Berry. And yeah, we stuck in the standings for Hickory. We missed one of the playoff races, so I do not know where we finished in the championship, but we had some good respectable runs this year. And of course, Milwaukee with the ARCA car and Toledo. Those were a whirlwind for me, because Milwaukee is nothing like what I'm used to. And so it was a big learning experience for both.
Yeah, for sure. What was it like getting in an ARCA car?
What was it like? It was nerve-wracking. Me growing up with my dad as a crew chief, it's always a dream to race with your dad all the way up until you can't. And so Milwaukee was definitely a dream come true for me and my dad and my family. I had a lot of family and friends there at Milwaukee, so it was just a dream come true.
Yeah, for sure. Just how different are they from what you're typically just used to?
100% different. They have similar horsepower, but they weigh a lot more. And the tires are different. That was one of the biggest things that I noticed at Milwaukee. The tires are way different, way less forgiving. And you just have to be really disciplined in an ARCA car. You have to be smooth with your wheel and throttle. That was the key to being fast at Milwaukee and Toledo, where in the late model, you can really kind of manhandle it, driving in the corner as hard as you want to and attack the gas and get out of the corner as hard as you want to. It doesn't matter if you're sideways or push into the wall. That's just how you drive a late model.
Okay. So really kind of going into that, you have one more race, I think, left this year. I think it's the Fall Brawl, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So kind of talk about that and how excited are you for that, and then we'll go on from there.
Yeah, of course I'm excited. Every race is exciting for me, getting an opportunity to drive. But we ran the Bobby Isaac Memorial early this year. It was 150 laps, and the Fall Brawl will be 200 laps. So they were kind of similar races. The Bobby Isaac Memorial, we didn't qualify so well, but I rode around the back and saved my tires. And with 50 to go, I passed. I went from 10th to 5th. Was able to score a top 5 finish, which was, even though it's a top 5, it was still pretty big because late model racing is tough. It's the toughest it's ever been, in my opinion. And coming from an underfunded family, those top 5s are huge for us in a sense, and to be able to win earlier this year was definitely huge. So we have a good notebook going into the Fall Brawl, and as long as I keep the tires on it, we should be able to score a good finish.
For sure. And I know we kind of talked about next year when we talked to you at Toledo. I know that an ARCA East season is possible for you. Where are we anywhere toward that?
I'd like to say we are, but reality, no, not really. It hasn't really been talked a lot yet, but we're still, deep into the truck series, and we're still worried about finishing the truck series right now. So hopefully over the winter, me and Al and Cody can talk about it, and hopefully we can get some more partners. But I've got some really great people believing in me. My dad, of course, Cody and Al, and Rob Rose from Worldwide Express. So we can achieve it. We just gotta sit down and talk about it.
All right. All right, Matthew Gould, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. Congrats on those 2 races at Toledo, and good luck at the Fall Brawl.
Thank you.